Hello builders, and welcome to another time-lapse video. This one I have for you the Gharials. Right here we have a little restaurant we're building that's going to sit in the middle of the habitat. Now unfortunately I did have a little bit of hardware problems. The hard drive that was containing a lot of my footage ended up failing and I lost footage for a few things. But luckily I was able to transfer the files to another hard drive and sort it out. But that means unfortunately that you don't get to see me build the initial structure of this building. But hey, you can watch me finish it off. And unfortunately with all the hardware problem, there will be no footage of me building the alligator habitat. That was going to be the next video I released, but unfortunately that footage is all gone. All that was left was a little bit of the beginning and a tiny bit of the end, so really not worth me making it into a video. But hey, that's enough complaining for me. Let's get on with the building, shall we? So here we're doing our little restaurant, as I already said. I wanted to have a restaurant somewhere in this area, as I like to spring out restaurants all over the park whenever I can get them in. And it gives me a chance to come up with a nice little fun theme for my restaurants. I believe the other restaurants we have in the park are Bear Grylls, the one sitting in North America, and King Julian's Juice Jamboree over in Primate Island. So this was the third one we ended up building. And it's just a nice little swamp-themed restaurant for guests to hang out with the Gharials in. And hey, when they're done eating, they can just throw their food over the fence and feed the Gharials. And hey, there's also that threat from the waiters that if you don't pay your bill, guess who's going over that fence? And eat the food. Of course, it wouldn't be a stone build without me getting mad at the pathing. I tried getting the path here just a bridge, but the water would not go back in with the path being so low, so I had to make a bridge out of the rock first, and then put the path over top of it. Here at the World Zoo, we also invest in the high quality fencing so that guests can fully lean on this lovely net and not fall over.
Warning, do not lean on netting. Gharial Bay not liable for any injuries suffered by Gharials or netting failures.
I believe originally when I was building this, I wanted to have all the tables on the top of here so they could look down, or at least most of them, but I ended up putting more tables down below just to have a little bit of a patio out there. And then we ended up covering up most of this top bit with some rocks and foliage, just to make everything look a little bit more overgrown, as I like to do in the zoo. And then it suddenly occurred to me that there was no real way for guests to get up here, so I had to quickly add in just a small little wooden bit with a door to make it look like guests had a stairway to go up. And now I'm building the sleeping area for the Gharials, so guests can come in and look at them having a nice little rest in their cave. Get ready for an avalanche. Now comes the best part of the video, all the important rock work. A lot of rocks go in all my zoos. Lots of rocks. I think anyone who watches my streams understands the importance of the rocks and how much I love placing them down. Some might say I have a problem with having too many rocks, but I say it's not an obsession and it's not a problem. I'm not going to your intervention, just leave me alone. Now the top part was just looking a little bit bland, so I wanted to add a tiny little makeshift garden up here. It's come with some moss rocks and some mulch, and bam, quick little swampy garden. Now we gotta reorganize all these tables for some prime viewing and eating. Gotta give everyone a little bit of privacy. You know, we never want to crowd our tables too much. You ever been to a restaurant and you're crammed in there and you can hear other people's conversations and you really don't want to be listening but you can't help it? So you end up learning a little too much about the family next to you. You find out, oh, someone's colonoscopy went well. Oh, so-and-so are dating now. Oh, you hear about him, he lost his job. Stuff. You don't want to know about all that. You just want to enjoy your meal. You don't want to hear about someone's colonoscopy. Disgusting, yuck. And also, if you're one of those people who talk about that openly in public, have some respect for people around you. Just assume everyone can hear everything you're saying. So you know what? Just leave that for the privacy of your own home. And you know what? Maybe that's a feature of this little restaurant. If the table next to you is being a little rowdy, they're being a little bit annoying, maybe the waiter turns his blind eye. Maybe everyone in the restaurant turns a blind eye and you just toss them overboard and let the Gharials finish them off.
Gharial Gourmet not liable for any injuries suffered by Gharials.
This netting may not be strong enough to hold back the Gharial, but I like to assume that people are just going to be feeding them, so the Gharial is going to be fed enough that they're not even going to try to attempt to break out this netting. And while we were building this restaurant, I challenged chat to come up with a name, and after much deliberation we came up with the name Gharial Gourmet. Although don't worry about the misspelling there, we do catch it in the end and we fix it. It occurs to me now that that misspelling is actually pretty funny. Garia. It sounds like something you get from eating a really bad meal. Not quite diarrhea, but it's up there. Of course, you wouldn't get Garia from anything we eat here. This is a fine establishment with the finest food, and no swamp flavoring whatsoever. Just swamp theme. With the restaurant done, now we can come in and finish off the rest of the exhibit. We'll come in and add in the fencing, and then more rock work, and then the foliage, and it will all be complete. And the Gharials have a nice place to come and dine. As with a lot of the builds in the swamp area, rely on the water to fill in a lot of the space. It is a swamp after all, and when you think of swamps, you think of big old pools of dirty water. Dirty, dirty water. And I almost forgot to make room for the train. Have to have the train coming out of here. The train is going to be one of the big builds of this whole park, as it's going to go around the entire area and stop off in multiple zones. This one wall we are leaving completely empty right here, as it's eventually become a cave for our amphibian habitat, which you won't see it in this build, but there will be another video out soon detailing that build. And see, I told you we'd fix the lettering. No Gharial for you, just Gharials. Now, with all that glorious rock work out of the way, we can come in and finally start adding in all the green to this. I mean, the rock's already green, so we already have green, but now we're adding double green. That's right, the elusive double green that we're always searching for our exhibits. What am I talking about? I don't know, I'm rambling right now. Let's just get on with the building. Green, 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 green. I have to say, the lily pads and the mangrove trees were like the unsung heroes of this entire area. They just make the whole swamp theme really pop. Love them. Swamp or not, I think I'm going to have to add more of them to my future builds. Of course, I don't like having my fish feeders being seen by the domes, so we're going to cover up with a little rock here just to hide it from the guests. I always try to build these exhibits from guest perspective, so just to hide those little pieces of machinery whenever we can makes it look a little bit more natural for the Gharials and from the guests. I really should get in the habit, and you should as well if you're building in Plant Zoo, is add the animals in real quickly before you finish off too much of the rock work, just so you can get their pathing down. As I added the Gharials in, and the females could get around as they're smaller, but the big males had a hard time accessing everything, so we had to come in and do some adjustments, especially around the feeders. For some reason, the feeders weren't deep enough for the males to eat. And now that we're nearing the end of the video, I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you builders enjoyed this. I'm going to do that thing YouTubers do where I ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. I generally like hearing from you guys with any feedback, negative or good. Always encourages me to keep going and getting better. And feel free to join me over on Twitch or the Discord, all links down below. I will hopefully have another video out very soon. This one will probably be for the amphibian and snake area. But with all that said, I'll leave you guys with one final flyby of this build. Hope you enjoyed it, and happy building everyone. Talk to you later.